everyone, I'm Vaibhavi Agrawal. I'm All India rank 35 this year in UPSC CSE 2025 examination. Today I am here to share my note making strategy. For my mains examination, I have compiled some notes which has helped me to write answers. This year my mains marks are 823 and I believe that somewhat this notes making strategy has helped me and I would like to share it. This strategy has worked for me and I would suggest to use it and amend it according to your own convenience. So the approach of note making strategies as follows. First is that the UPSC has given us a syllabus in its official website. First we need to download the PDF of the syllabus for GS1, 2, 3 and 4 and read the syllabus because it will give us understanding what UPSC is trying to ask. Now take out the keywords from that syllabus point and read the class notes or the base material which is required to develop the understanding of that topic. Reading about any humanity subject or any other subject is that the quantity which is available, the knowledge is unlimited. So now to confine that knowledge to a limited area, we should always refer to the PYQs because PYQ help us understand what UPSC is asking and on what lines we should make our notes and what should be our strategy and what should be our notes like. So that is why we should refer PYQs. Now using these things, we would when we have read the syllabus, the class notes and the PYQs, we would be able to answer the questions which UPSC is asking. An answer has three parts. That is, one is the introduction, then the body part and the conclusion. Now to get some extra marks, our answer should contain some data points, some diagrams, some good introduction and conclusion, quotes, etc. These are the things which we keep on collecting over a period of time that I have compiled in my fourth point, that is miscellaneous work which we need to do to increase our marks in mains. For this, I would highly emphasize that throughout my journey, I have used newspaper as the source to collect this data because in newspaper, when we read editorial or the explained page, we come across a lot of good introduction, conclusion things or material related to body like data, Supreme Court cases, some good report, etc. So that is why the newspaper reading is an important part here. And after we are done with this, we would be ready with a certain set of notes which will be very helpful between prelims and mains. Now between prelims and mains, what is important is that we read these notes, revise it 1 or 2 times and then come to making short notes that will help us read the 2-3 concise pages just before the day of our examination. When we have very short notes just before the examination, it becomes highly likely that we will be using that data point or the reports or the data or the embellishments which we have compiled in the examination. So that is why I think these are the 5 things which I have used in my note making strategy. Now I would be sharing, showing some of my notes and telling how notes for a particular topic can be made. So this is the syllabus for GS1 part. Now I will show my notes, how I have made notes for GS1. We will focus upon one part, that would be the urbanization. We have a keyword here. Let's say we choose the keyword urbanization and I'll be showing how we can make notes around it. So this is my note and I have used OneNote by Microsoft to make my notes in the online format. And so if we see, we have certain notebooks here, GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. For all the GS, I have made certain notes and at the end we have short notes. In GS1 also we have certain sections, social issues, history, geography, economics, geography, ancient history, etc. According to the topic, I have also made a subsections in the particular section and then thereafter I have certain, for each topic there are particular notes about that. If we focus upon urbanization, so if we see, first we have, first I have compiled PYQs, I have understood, I have highlighted what are the parts important, what is UPSC is trying to ask. Then the second section is about data. This data I have collected from certain newspaper or some magazine I have collected and found it relevant. So I have also written it here for my future references. Some Niti Aayog's report which came in newspaper and I've thought that it can be useful in the exam. Some suggestions which Niti Aayog has given. This is the definition of urbanization. These are the few things which I have read from the class notes. Importance and needs of urbanization, issues and challenges, effects of urbanization, both positive and negative effect. I have written it here. Then the recommendation, how we can cater to that challenges of urbanization. Some report of second ARC, some report of Niti Aayog, which can be beneficial, the smart city mission and information regarding it. This is the relevant example from the newspaper which I have collected, talking about Ahmedabad, how it has used technology driven solution to cater to the challenges of urbanization. I thought that this can be useful. I can write it as a case study in some of the answer. That is why I have pasted a copy of newspaper in my notes itself. So in that way, my notes for the urbanization is completed. I have referred, I have first found the keyword in the syllabus, then looked upon the basic class notes or the basic material to understand the topic, so integrated it with the PYQs, and then collected some data, some missions around it, and some reports around it. So this is how I have made notes for every topic in the GS1. So you can see it here. Now similarly, I will show one more example for the GS2. In GS2, we have a section in in a GS2 paper that caters to polity, and in polity, we should be having some Supreme Court cases handy so that can be useful in the examination. Now I would be showing how I made notes for that. In the GS2 section, I have Supreme Court cases. First of all, in the GS2 session, I have made notes around fundamental rights, constitution, judiciary, election, governance, social justice, and IR part. Every note is here for every part of the GS2 paper. Thus, specifically for the Supreme Court cases, this is the cases. So these are the few cases for the preamble. Berubari case, Keswanand Bharti case. For the fundamental right, around Article 19, I have written some cases. Right to move, for the fundamental right of right to move freely, I have written some cases. Right to reside and settle, I have written some cases. For Article 21, there are a lot of questions in Article 21. I have also compiled some introduction or the conclusion kind of thing from newspaper which former CJI has said. I have written it. That also, I thought that can be useful in writing introduction and conclusion in the answers. So I have written that as well. Now around Article 21, I have written all the Supreme Court cases which has been given around right to privacy, right to die with dignity, right against adverse effects of climate change, right to religion. I have written everything in one single document, so that just before the examination it becomes easy to read everything. And the more we read, if we have everything at one place, it becomes highly probable that it will come out in the examination as well if we are able to read it just before the exam. So this has worked for me. For example, this year a question directly came for the evolution of collegium system. Just because I had written all the 3 Supreme Court cases, 3 judges cases in just one document, I was able to write each and every point very precisely, including the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. We also have a conclusion ready. We also have other things here mentioned which can be useful if the question is being asked around that topic. So this is how we can create create notes like for the Supreme Court cases for the GS2 paper, and for the other parts I have also prepared notes for the GS2 in a similar fashion. For GS3, I will this is the syllabus mentioned in the UPSC PDF for the GS3 part. There's one part in the GS3 that is the disaster management. I'll give an example how I made notes for that part of GS3 paper. So this is my notebook for the GS3 paper. We can see that every part is mentioned. I have made notes for every part: economics, ecology, S&T, security, disaster management, agriculture, etc. I will show notes for disaster management. First, in the disaster management, I have written the definition of the disaster management. What is the definition of mitigation? Some keywords to be included in the answer. What are the types of disaster? Natural and man-made disaster. Some introduction and some conclusion also ready. Some data is being mentioned in the introduction, some data is in the conclusion. Types of mitigation, structural and non-structural. These are the part from the class notes. I have these are the basic things which I have written, which I first read from the class note or the basic material and made some concise notes out of it. Similarly, these are the vulnerabilities coming out of the coming due to the disaster, some diagram which can directly be used, international frameworks around disaster management. some Indian framework, that is the NDMA Act, the policy, the plan around it, what is mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery strategies, those kind of data, those kind of things are written. This is directly cut from the newspaper because I thought that last year a bill was came to amend the NDMA Act, so I thought that that can be a probable question in the upcoming mains. So this is to show that, you know, when we are reading the newspaper, we can also try to predict what kind of question can be asked in the UPSC, and someone can guess 2 or 3 questions definitely what UPSC can ask. So that is why newspaper reading is very important. I have also pasted the same cutting here because I thought that can be asked in the newspaper. I have also made a diagram which I can use it directly in the paper. Now after this theory part, now I analyzed the PYQs and understood what kind of disaster they are asking. For example, they are asking flash floods, so I have written some notes around flash floods. I have written some notes around urban flood, some landslide, glof, flood, cloud burst, heat waves, coastal erosion, sand mining, airplane crash, wildfires, cyclones, earthquakes. This kind of things I have written for all types of disaster. I have made some notes so that if any disaster is being asked, we are able to write the answer. This kind of for making notes for each and every type of disaster is not possible at a time. This is a task which requires some time. It has been made over a period of time, as in if the disaster is happening and the news and something is on the news, I will add a section in that disaster management notebook, and I will write relevant things to that disaster that I can write in my answers. So that is how we have to make the notes. This will not come in just a day, but as the newspaper things are coming in the current affairs, we continue to add. Now there is one document here for the introduction and conclusion. Here I have written introduction, conclusion, data and diagrams. Here I have written some, these are the things which are written earlier as well, but I have made a separate document that can be like a page which I can refer to just before the examination, so that I can reproduce this all things in the examination. Some data around the cyclone, some data around landslide, some report, some few things around the earthquake. I have also made a diagram where I am showing the disaster earthquake prone region, zone 5 or zone 4 region in India. Some data around heat waves. It was very relevant few years back, that is why I thought and a question can be made. Some data around drought, water scarcity, land subsidence, this kind of things we can keep on adding, and which will help us to write answers in the final examination. So similarly, I have made notes for the all other topics in the GS3. Now I will discuss the strategy for the GS4 paper. In GS4, the best thing is that we need to, first of all we need to, again the same, it is the same thing that we first need to read the syllabus and then read each and every, make notes and understanding around each and every keyword. Here also I did the same thing. One thing which is very important in GS4 I will be mentioning. First, these are my notes for the GS4 paper. So first topic was about ethics and human interface. I have written same as it is things from the syllabus. Now I have made notes on each and every part from it. Essence of ethics, determinants of ethics, consequences, dimensions, ethics in private relations, ethics in public life, human values, role of family, society and institutions. So this is how the notes can be made. Static notes can be, the basic notes can be made from each and every point of the syllabus. But now after doing this, what is very important in ethics is to have certain set of examples. So these are my sections for the example for ethics. I have collected this over a period of time again. So lessons from Ramayana, from Mahabharata, some list of senior IAS officer who has done good, and we can quote them in our paper. Examples from other areas, lessons from Buddhism, ethics in sports, those kinds of things I have kept on adding over a period of time from newspaper, from magazine, from social media site, or some network or some online sites which can be quoted in the examination, which will help us fetch some extra marks. In ethics, we should always focus on writing some unique examples, because the common example is something which every one of us are writing. To stand out and to fetch some extra marks, it becomes very important to have some unique example quotes. Philosophers' theory like Immanuel Kant, Rousseau, Aristotle, Socrates, their theories should be mentioned. Some quotes can be mentioned from the famous personalities, some case studies, real case studies, some authors' book name. Those kind of things we should keep on adding, and That is how when we have those things ready, we will be able to write those things in our examination and fetch some extra marks. So these are my notes for some, these are some a list of some senior IAS officer which I have collected from some site. Now when we are done with all the 4 paper, GS 1, 2, 3 and 4, the last part remaining which one should do between prelims and mains is making the short notes. When our notes are ready before the prelims, so first thing is that we will revise those notes after the prelims, maybe once or twice, and then after reading those we will be able to identify the things which we are not able to remember very frequently. So those things will come in our short notes, like some data points, some diagram, some introduction and conclusion, some quotes, this kind of things which we should be able to directly reproduce in the examination. So that is how I have made short notes for that. We will be making short notes between prelims and mains after the revision once or twice. I will show one example in that. So this is my notebook for the short notes for my 2025 attempt. I first read all the notes, revised it once or twice, and then keep on adding the things which I was forgetting. I will show one of my notes. First, let's say we look upon the health. Here I have not written all the note which was in my in the above notes, just very few things only, like introduction and conclusion which I will be using as it is, data, some data regarding mental health, some data regarding vaccination, some data regarding suicide, some data regarding non-communicable diseases, some data regarding old age, some data regarding medicines because it was in the news, some data regarding traditional medicines, and a conclusion. So if we have the data and the introduction, conclusion, or the things which we are going to directly use in the examination ready in one place, this will be hardly some 20 pages for GS2. Now before the exam, I will be able to read those 20 pages, and it's highly probable that I will be able to reproduce those things in my exam as well. So this was my notes making strategy. I think this has helped me immensely in my mains examination, and that is why I am very grateful to share it with all of you. And I would recommend that one thing which is very important throughout the notes making is that it's not just a one-day process. It requires some time. We should first read the class notes or the base material, and then keep on adding the material from the newspaper or some magazines. Reading newspaper is very important. We should always, I had given some more time in reading newspaper because I was collecting this material as well. Introduction from some editorial, if I liked it, I would write it here. Some conclusion. We do not have to write whole newspaper, just a few things which is relevant to the examination, especially things like Supreme Court cases or the historical part of how this cases has evolved. Those kind of things keeps on coming here and there in the newspaper, and we should look for that and keep on adding. Now this is something which has I would suggest that learn from it and grab the things which is suitable for you, and amend the things which is according to your own convenience, and make notes for your GS preparation. Thank you.